Hello, hello, hello. We meet again here in this space. I thank you as always so much for being here with me, for joining me, and for letting me enter your energy as you too enter mine by being a listener here. I'm so grateful. So for today's topic, it's something that touches a little bit on taboo per usual, because as we all know, that's one of my favorite things to do. So before we get started, I will ask that you subscribe to my Spotify. Also check out my other platforms of social media. I am on TikTok, Instagram, Twitter, Spotify, like I just said. YouTube, I said already too. What else? Let's see. Yeah, find me on social media. Okay, guys. So I do hope to see you there, by the way. And then also I do have a Patreon, so feel free to subscribe. I would love to see you there as well. There I do focus more on attuning and aligning with universal code and universal synchronicities, and just really tapping into the energy of becoming our highest selves as possible as we can. And in reference to that exact same topic, I would like to bring awareness to what this topic of this podcast is referring to and all about. Toxicity. The question I have for you today that I hope to leave you with a lingering energy and thought on is toxicity. What is toxicity to you? Do you embrace your toxic behaviors, or do you shun them? Do you push them away and tell yourself that you should not accept any negative thoughts? That you should not allow other people to affect you in any way, and you should be so strong that your toxicity ceases to exist? I ask you this because I, too, just like you, have my own toxic traits. I have my toxic behaviors. I have things that I wish I didn't do at times. I have energy that goes beyond my understanding that upsets me. And I used to always see this as I started expanding more into my spiritual elemental of myself. I saw this as a weakness. I saw this as something I should be ashamed of, as if having a toxic trait or toxic reaction was something that hindered me from my growth. But in return, as I grow and I progress, especially being in a relationship and especially having more close friends at this time, I'm realizing that the toxic behaviors of myself are actually what make me so beautiful. And they make you beautiful too. Life is all about perspective. When we try to hide aspects of ourselves, or when we try to act as if something doesn't bother us when it really does, what is that doing as a good for you or anyone involved? Is it really justified to just shun our energy off and feel as if it's not our own because we shouldn't accept it, because maybe it was inflicted by another's perspective? Or should we embrace it, feel it, and talk it through? Maybe even if you need to get the rage out that you have that comes to you, if that is something that happens. Having a coping mechanism, having a way of understanding yourself is the key element to succeeding in this life. As I've mentioned before, healing is not a linear thing. Healing is not something that just comes and it's done. Healing is a process of life. Healing is the processing of life. And when we refuse to heal, we refuse our toxicities, and we refuse to see ourselves in the dark and only trying to see ourselves in the light. And one cannot be in the light without going through the darkness to get there, to see. So I say to you, and I ask of you, that you embrace your toxicity. If something affects you, let it affect you. Set with it, feel through it, release the energy as you need be. Because the worst thing that we can do is trap energy inside of ourselves. It will become stagnant and it will become a weight that bears on our soul in a way that does no good for us. If you're angry, be angry. If you're sad, be sad. If you're mad, be mad. If someone affects you, let them know, even if it's not in a way of blaming them, because it's not their fault still. Because yes, no one can technically make you feel a certain way. But the thing is that we often refuse to see and understand is that as humans, we have chemistry, we have astrology, we have placements of elements and energies that are affected by one another. And to deny that and say that no one can make us feel a certain way, that statement is a true and false statement completely. Because we can, yes, control that energy. But the thing is, it's not a control by suppression. It is a control of expression. When we express how we feel, we understand how we feel. And although, yes, maybe someone cannot make you feel a certain way, but that doesn't mean that you don't feel that way. It doesn't mean that they haven't impacted you in a way to where it shows you something about yourself. So the only thing that we can really do is ask ourselves why that shows us that, why we feel this way, and what can we do to make it feel better, or what does it signify? Sometimes the most toxic traits can come out because of things like love or caring for someone and being hurt or feeling deceived or feeling deception or feeling depression or whatever it may be. Just remember, these things do not make you less than. If anything, they make you stronger. Every challenge, every battle, everything that affects us helps us. The darkest nights can bring the brightest days. So I just ask in this short podcast transmission that you remember that you are okay. And it is okay to feel. And it is okay to love your toxicities. And in fact, embrace those toxicities. Maybe at some point you'll sit back and laugh about it. Because as you grow, you will see where you came from. And seeing where you came from is the ultimate guide, is the ultimate truth. It's not about being the bigger person all the time. Yes, maybe at some point we come to terms where we are, but that doesn't mean that we always have to be perfect. Sometimes the most challenging thing in life can be being human. The most simple thing that we came here to do. Because we all want to be these gurus of ourselves. We all want to be these highest aspects of ourselves. And I even preach this on my Patreon, attuning with the universe, being the highest versions of ourselves. But never will I ever say that does not mean that we should feel, or that means that we shouldn't feel, or that means that we shouldn't embrace our toxicities or release the energy that's not serving us in the way that feels best for us at the time. Sometimes yelling, screaming, breaking glass can be the best thing that you can do to release energy. And in fact, the sound, the shatter of glass is a frequency that has the ability to change, alter, and skew timelines. So maybe if you get enraged and you don't have a special technique that works for you best, maybe just go somewhere in a safe place and just break glass. These traditions, these customs that people have done for ages, centuries, they have a purpose and they serve a role. Everyone has a different coping mechanism. But the thing is, unless we find the mechanism through embracing the fact that the problem or the source of the issue is there, then we can never release it and we will never get through it. Sometimes we just need to feel. And I challenge you to feel. Embrace your toxicity just as much as your light, because it's just as important and it's just as valuable into your highest side. I love you guys so much. As always, I thank you for listening to this podcast. And again, I ask that if you enjoy my content, if you enjoy my energy, check me out on all of my other spaces. You can find me on all social media platforms at Terrestrialaura. I thank you so much, and I will have another podcast coming soon. Thank you for being you and embracing you and seeing the worth and your value in all aspects of you. I love you. And till we meet again, thank you for listening.